This time, I will discuss about the archaeological evidence of Exodus. We refer to the book The Burning Bush, written by Dr. Kim Sung-Hak, who researched the sites where the evidences are found. I'll begin this exploration with this question. Are you interested in the early church? For me, I'm very much curious. And there's an incident that sparked this curiosity. I once asked a Catholic, "How do you come to be a Catholic?" His answer was very simple. He said, "Because it's the older church." And this short answer made me think through the history. And my attention didn't stop in Catholic Church, but went all the way to the 1st century church, we usually call the early church. I don't know whether you're familiar with this, but the quality that the scriptures were preserved is above and beyond common knowledge, which I hope to discuss later on. But the biblical manuscripts are nearly perfect, having very small range of errors, especially the Old Testament, to our astound, have 0 error. This is due also to the special feature that Hebrew language has, and of this subject matter we will discuss on another video. The manner of worship has gone through changes and reformations throughout time and events. Even now, the manner differs, Catholic from Protestant, and even in the same Protestant church, it may differ between denominations, which made me wonder of the way the early church worshipped. It's not unreasonable to think the way early church worshipped has more originality than the way Catholic Church does, nor Protestant does. The person who I talked to said the Catholic Church is the old church, but like I said, if we go longer back to time, the old church is the church formed by the apostles of Jesus. From this early church stemmed out the doctrines of Catholic and through time Protestant. I'm very much curious whether what we see today resembles the early church. As I study creation science, I was confronted at last to the problem of Exodus. The various movies and animations, I was familiarized with the event, and I got to know that the Exodus wasn't perfectly concordant with actual history and archaeological evidences. So I looked deeper into the matter, but only to find that God truly has left many evidences of Exodus. To my amazement, there were such evidences from which we can infer that the Exodus was indeed historical. In addition, I found out that what many Christians know of the details of Exodus were incorrect, and it has become an obstacle that made us uncomfortable to accept Exodus as true history. Many of us had the first button sewed wrong. Of the understanding of Exodus, there are problems of archaeology and the problem of history. About the historical problem of Exodus, since there's an outstanding documentary made, and I'll introduce it later on in the video. Firstly, let me lay out some explanations of Roman Catholic. The Roman Empire was divided into East and West. At a time, Emperor Constantine of the East and Emperor Maximus of the West got into a war, of which Constantine prevailed, resulting in the birth of a unified Roman Empire. Thus, Constantine the Great comes to rule the whole of Roman Empire. Interestingly, the great emperor's mother, Helena, was Christian, and she would plead to her son not to persecute the Christians every time she went up before him. Probably have influenced the emperor. One way or another, Constantine legalized Christianity. And, through occasions and consequences, Christianity became the state religion of the great Roman Empire. May we say this was the beginning of the Catholic Church? We might as well interpret this that Constantine wanted to use, more or less, Christianity to govern people. So, Christianity entered Rome, which already had polytheistic faith foundation, and the two, which should repel each other, comes together in a way. In my opinion, corrupt seed sneaked in, bringing forth some troubles of the church in the future history. Some may take it uncomfortable. Some fusions that happened, for example, celebrating the birth of Jesus at the 25th of December. We know that this date was formerly called the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the sun. Since sometime in the days of Emperor Constantine, the festival was lifted up to the name of Jesus and was handed down. There are more which was said in the Roman Catholic Church that could be seen in a way to misrepresent the early faith. Another example is the sign of the cross. Most of us know this gesture that Catholics make as they finish praying. I ask myself this question: did early church believers pray like this? Well, then how did they pray? Does the question interest you? I don't know how they prayed, but what's important is that after the Christian faith was declared state religion, doctrines and whatnot can be seen doubtful were introduced, and of which is the matter of Exodus of Israelites, which is the main topic of this video. The Catholic Church determines that Mount Sinai is the mountain which is to the south of the Sinai Peninsula. This is a very important geological detail, since it would almost dictate the geological understanding of Exodus. They concluded that the Israelites crossed some part of the sea, visited Mount Sinai, wandered around the desert, and went into the Promised Land this way. Some should be familiar with this explanation. What you need to know is, this scenario receives no support from the Bible nor archaeology. Then is there another explanation? That's what we're trying to share. Long story short, some archaeologists found solid evidences that actual Mount Sinai is located in, surprisingly, Saudi Arabia. They see today's Mount Laz is the biblical Mount Sinai. This mountain's name is Laz, which means almond. And do you know which flower budded from the staff of Aaron, the high priest of Israel, brother of Moses? According to Numbers 17, verse 1, almond. What's more surprising is that almond does not grow wild in Saudi Arabia. But mysteriously, on this mountain, almond trees are found. So there's an intersection with the description of the Bible. Then, what about the Red Sea? If you say Mount Sinai is actually over there, what happens to the Red Sea? The answer is, along with this Red Sea, this sea here is also called the Red Sea. Both were traditionally called the Red Sea from the past. Then if you're saying the right Red Sea is the actual Red Sea that the Israelites crossed, what supports the claim? First, the evidence of the point of the crossing. When we look at the depth of the parts of the sea, all parts have a steep drop without much foothold. But here is found a spacious fan. The size of this fan is about 1/4 of Manhattan. Bible testifies that Israelites consisted of 60,000 men. When women, children, and other ethnicities are counted, arguably around 2 million people. And this land is spacious enough to provide elbow room for all of them. Second is the name of location. There is this region named Nuweiba Beach, and Nuweiba actually means the place where they split the water. What makes that name more convincing is the depth of the water in front of that region. The depth averages around 1,000 meters in this sea, except in front of the Nuweiba Beach. This left point is the Nuweiba Beach. This site has strangely shallow depth. Isn't that amazing? Third, remains of Egyptian chariots. The Bible testifies that Egyptian army of 600 chariots chased after the Israelites into the Red Sea, which became dry land, and that God intervened, taking off the wheels of the chariots, interfering the chase. If this testimony is true, some remains of the chariots may be found. When the researchers sent a diving team into the sea bottom in front of the Nuweiba Beach, they did find the remains of the wheels of Egyptian chariots. When we think, the fact that Egyptian chariots are found here is unlikely, since Egypt is so far away. What we misunderstand about the crossing of the Red Sea is the manner of the splitting. These images are from movies, different from the Bible's testimony that east wind blew all that night. So taken this was where the people were, the wind from the east blew towards Moses and his staff. With that, we can think that the strong east wind carried sands and filled the sea, forming dry land. Do you remember the water depth was so shallow? These evidences are truly amazing. The Exodus could be more real than how we imagined it. So we came this far. The Catholic Church determined that Mount Sinai is around here. Not only those evidences are against it, but the Bible is also contending. Bible's testimony of the location of Mount Sinai is Arabia. Paul writes of Mount Sinai in Arabia in Galatians 4 verses 25. Ladies and gentlemen, this region has never been called Arabia. Only this region was called Arabia historically. Now we will see in another light the plausibility of this view. Many of us know that Moses runs away to Midian desert after killing an Egyptian. Do you know where that desert is? It is here. If you look at old maps, this desert has always been called the Midian Desert. So Moses ran all the way here. And Moses is known to go to Mount Horeb as he was shepherding the sheep, where he meets God in the burning bush, where God tells Moses, after Exodus, the Israelites will worship God in that very mountain where Moses met God. So the mountain should be nearby Midian Desert, where Moses was tending his sheep. The Bible testifies Moses led the sheep westward of the desert, and he arrived at Mount Horeb, which means that to the east of Mount Horeb is the desert. However, there's no desert to the east of the Catholics' Mount Sinai. We can see that in Arabia's case. Pretty shocking. On top of that, If we look at this map, we can see a part of the land called the Moses' Well. To the south, we find a village named after Shoab, which is Jethro of the Bible, priest of Midian. The town is still called after Shoab till this day, and the elders there too claim so, like it's nothing new. North to that, it's Wadi Musa, translated the Valley of Moses. So, Mount Horeb being to the west of Midian Desert, and Midian Desert being in Arabia, adds more weight that Israelites crossed the right Red Sea and came to the mountain where Moses met the I Am. So, you can see that the traces of Exodus are found in Arabia. There are mortars found in Midian Desert, which is found in great number, signifying a great number of people using this tool in the desert. Now, we'll take a look at the Mount Sinai that we think is the actual Mount Sinai. This is the Sinai's picture, and the top portion looks dark. The Bible says God came down upon Mount Sinai with fire. Could it be the remain of that event? This photograph is taken by NASA from satellite, and you can see the dark portions. Some suggest volcanic activity. However, when Dr. Kim investigated the stones there, he found that only the outer layer was dark. Inside was white, signifying it wasn't from volcanic activity. And there was engravement of menorah in the nearby rock. Why would a menorah be engraved all the way here, a land far from Israelites' reach? What an astounding finding. The reason that discovery was so belated is because the government of the land kept it closed. Before Dr. Kim was able to explore this region, was already Westerners trying to investigate the place as they heard that there were such remains. But there, the Saudi government got involved. They intervened and took a look for themselves and saw those evidences of Exodus. Saudi Arabia, identifying themselves as opponent of the descendants of Isaac, shut the place down. Probably thought that if this evidence goes out, it does only bad for them, not good. Okay, then how was Dr. Kim allowed to search the land when others weren't? It's through this series of events. Dr. Kim, who is an Oriental doctor, flew over to Saudi Arabia by chance. And luckily, he was permitted by the government to open his clinic, which was the first case ever. And with acupuncture, he cured many people with illness. And the story of that spread nationwide. He was called by broadcasting stations, and so on. He became famous. And one day, a son of the first king of Saudi Arabia, who is therefore the head of the whole Muslim and prince, sought for Dr. Kim. After Dr. Kim's treatment, his cervical disc herniation got so much better, and Dr. Kim became the attending physician of the kingdom. He treated many royalties and developed bonds with them. Out of that bond, he got the opportunity to explore this land that we talked about so far. He made 6 years of exploration on this region and wrote it down thoroughly in his book of The Burning Bush. If you want to know more of it in detail, you may read The Burning Bush or watch the video Dr. Kim made. I also want to introduce the historical evidence that was found concerning the Exodus. The documentary was made on it, titled Patterns of Evidence. It was directed by Tim Mahoney with the help of Christian movie industry. They discovered amazing evidences and traces of Exodus of Israelites. I encourage you to watch it. I've watched it myself. It used to be on Netflix. It seems like it's gone now. It's available on official website, and I hope you pay to watch it, it being such a film. I don't have any personal ties to these professors and doctors, but I still think those who can should support them. I, the producer of this video, not the voice actor, bought all the DVDs and books of Professor Lee Jae-man and Kim Myung-hyun in order to support their work. Again, I have no ties to them. For those who want to watch the Patterns of Evidence, I've uploaded the documentary in my Facebook, and will leave the link in the description and the comment. So this is it for what is prepared. Thank you for watching till the end. I'll be back with better contents next time.